All right. It's been about 10 minutes. Hopefully, everybody got a nice break. We'll pick back up. So we just kind of talked about how they put money into the policy from a salary reduction standpoint. Someone actually asked, what happens if they've been contributing to another plan and want to move over to National Life Group, or as you'll see, they change school districts or go from one municipality to another. What are my options with that? So there's really three ways to move money between vendors. So you got exchange, transfer, and rollover. And I'll kind of walk you through, and you can kind of see on the screen, hopefully, examples of all of those. So what happens if they're putting money, let's say, in an AIG policy, and you sit down with them, you start talking about National Life Group, the solutions we offer, and they're like, you know what, I really like that. Can I move my money that I've got in that 403B with AIG over to you? The answer is yes. I mean, as long as it's suitable, and let's cover that a little bit later. But absolutely, they can exchange within that plan and move the money from one of the vendors that's approved to another one. So they could exchange that money within the plan from AIG to National Life Group. They also obviously want to change the salary reduction too, right? So they'll want to stop the contributions going to that AIG policy and then start the contributions into the National Life Group policy. So that's an exchange. That's within plan. The other one is, let's say they change school districts, right? They go from ABC school district to XYZ school district, right? Well, they were contributing to a 403B at ABC. They absolutely can transfer from ABC to XYZ, all right? And I say absolutely, let me rephrase that. They have the option to. You'll see it down below. That has to be approved and allowed by the TPAs, okay? So that's one of the plan document things you'll want to identify. That plan document, do they allow transfers into their plan? A lot of them do. Some of them don't. You'd want to be aware of that. So if he or she moves from ABC to XYZ, they may be able to transfer that 403B or 457 to their new place of work. Okay. The other is rollover. This is more when, let's say, they separate from service, retire, whatever it might be. They were working for ABC, and let's say they now retire, they leave, they go work for, let's say, a public company. They can roll that money out of the 403B or 457 into another, be it a 457 plan where they go to work, a 401k, IRA. So they do have the ability to roll that money out of the plan. Okay, so those are ways to move money from a 403B, 457 between, whether they're with the same plan or may have left and gone somewhere else from that standpoint. As I mentioned, if it's a transfer, check with the TPA. Most allow rollovers. It's the transfers that you'll certainly want to validate and make sure. Okay, so that's how you can move money between plans. All right. So let's talk about taking money out of the plan, right? So we just talked about maybe they're still working or they moved and you can do an exchange rollover. But what happens if they're with a company or with that school district, they work 30 or 40 years? How do they pull money out of that 403B or 457 plan? And you'll see this on the screen. These are what's called triggering or qualifying events. One of these has to happen to be able to pull money out of the policy. And quite honestly, this is the ideal way. Remember, this is a long-term savings vehicle, right? This is meant for the retirement. It's not a checking or savings account. This is meant to be for retirement. And you'll see a lot of these are around that for that very reason, okay? So we'll go on the left-hand side, just 403B. To take a general distribution out of the 403B, they have to be either 59 and a half or totally disabled. For a 457, 59 and a half. For both of them, they have some common ones, which is separate from service, right? Retire, leave the job, whatever it might be. Death, which they're not taking the money, but someone's getting the money. That's a qualifying event. What we call a quadro, qualified domestic relations order. Basically a divorce decree, legal, a judge has ruled the separation of the assets. We obviously have to abide by that. IRS levy, and one that's a new one, childbirth or adoption. Those are all qualifying events that allow someone to take a general distribution out of their policy. Okay. Now, you can see, and goes back to the questions of what's some of the difference between a 403B and 457. Those gray boxes point out one. A 403B, if they take a distribution out of their policy before 59 and a half, they're subject to the IRS 10% premature distribution penalty. Okay. A 457 is not. So let's say they're 57, they separate from service. It's a qualifying event, right? Separation from service. And they're in a 457, trigger an event, separate from service. They can pull that money out. It's allowed. They're not going to get hit with that 10% penalty. Whereas in a 403B, they would. Okay. So that's one of the differences. And so, if you sit down with an employee and maybe they know, again, based on their situation, they're probably going to retire a little early and be able to because of their personal situations, what their significant other does. Maybe that 457 is the vehicle they want to choose to avoid that 10% penalty. Okay. So those are your general distributions and the qualifying events that allow them to take place. And you can kind of see, this is kind of a breakdown of it. But you can see the 10% penalty. One of the other ones, and it's the box that says avoid IRS early distribution penalty. One of the unique things with a 403B, and it's got to be in this order. I'll stress that. If they attain 55 and then separate from service, they actually avoid the 10% penalty, the IRS early distribution penalty. So I turn 55, I then separate from service. I actually not going to be hit with that penalty. I'm going to be taxed, but I won't be penalized. That is unique to the 403B. Okay. You can see RMDs, again, it goes back to the two guarantees in life, death and taxes, especially when it comes to the traditional. You've been deferring taxes. At some point, Uncle Sam's going to want you to take that money out in the form of RMDs. Okay. Taxation, the one thing I'll draw your attention to, you'll see it says mandatory 20% withholding. That's an IRS requirement. That's not a national life rule. So if they go to pull money out of, and you can see it's whether it's a 403 or 457, and they take a distribution out of it, we are required to withhold 20%. We can withhold more if they so choose, but we can't withhold less. It's an IRS rule. Okay, so just be aware of that. Okay, and loans. So again, one of the other options potentially in a plan is to allow these folks to take loans. And a lot of the plans allow loans to happen. Again, you want to just check the plan document because it may not be all of them, but the vast majority do allow loans. What a loan is it allows access to money in the form of a loan without a qualifying event. Okay. Again, life's dynamic, something may have come up. They need access to it. In a 403B and 457, they can, if they have the loan provision, they can take money out. Okay. You'll see kind of some of the bullet points there that kind of point to what the parameters are for a loan. The TPA calculates. That's probably the one thing that I'll stress for you. If you have an employee who comes, hey, I heard I got this loan feature in the 403B. I really need to access my money for this reason. Can I take it out? Let the TPA calculate it. I won't go into all the details, but there's different formulas in the way it's calculated. Have they taken loans in the past? Is there an outstanding loan? How much have they taken? All of that may factor into what they're allowed to take out. The TPA has all that information. So just do a conference call with the third-party administrator. Let them know what the employee is looking to do. They'll calculate the right amount of that loan. So saves you from possibly saying, yes, you can take this amount, because an employee, believe it or not, and we see this, doesn't always notify you as the agent when they go to take money out of their policy. So you may truly be aware that they may have 2 or 3 loans. And believe it or not, we have policies with 4, 5, 10, 15 different loans on one policy. Okay. And then you can see they got to pay it back within 5 years or 25 for primary resident from that standpoint. Okay. So those are loans. One of the things I'm going to pause for a second. what I went over is the standard of what we see from a 403b 47. When the coronavirus and this pandemic hit, Congress implemented what we call the CARES Act. You can say Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security. And there were a handful of things that they put out there to allow people who were impacted by the coronavirus to access their money, not be penalized. And so I want to make you aware of a couple of them here, because what I went over is the standard process, but with the CARES Act, they've added some additional relief and actually some additional parameters that allow it to be a little more flexible to take money out of the policy. So when it comes to withdrawals, early withdrawals, a participant can take out up to 100,000 if, again, a spouse or dependent has been or impacted due to COVID-19. So there is an early withdrawal featured under the CARES Act that allows them this access to money. Okay. Again, work with the TPA to if you have an employee who comes to you and says, "Hey, I've got this impact because of the coronavirus. What are my options?" Just be aware this is one as far as an early withdrawal. And you can see penalty free. We talked about that 10% penalty. This is part of the CARES Act. Okay. Another one is loans. So typically a loan, the max they were allowed to take out is what we called 50-50, 50% of the policy value or 50,000. They have increased that to 100. So again, anybody who's been impacted because of this pandemic has the ability to potentially access more via a loan from their policy. Okay, so another provision from the CARES Act that impacts 403b 457. So those are a couple of the CARES Act provision. As I kind of went through some of the parameters, the CARES Act, because of the environment we're in, Congress acted and put those in. So really good. Again, utilize the third-party administrator or TPA in your plan for those. They have all that. They've been up to speed on it and can make sure the employee takes what they need out from that standpoint. Okay.
So
yes.
On that CARES Act,
yes,
it says if they contracted COVID or suffered a significant financial
yes.
situation because of COVID-19, who's the determining factor on that? If the market's adjusted 40% and they can continue to fluctuate up and down, who is the determining factor on that? You know, if people feel they're going to lose money out of their 403 or 457 account and they want to roll it to a fixed annuity, and I hope you get what I'm saying here. I mean, it's proven that the market adjusted, and if they close down again this winter, it's going to happen again.
Yep. So they have to prove it, and that's where I always go back to use your TPAs, your third-party administrators. They are the ones who administer this. They're the ones who review a lot of this and say yes or no. But yeah, the participant just can't say, "Hey, I was adversely affected." They are going to have to show proof to validate it to be eligible for this. So there's got to be some sort of proof or validation to qualify for this. Otherwise, if they take it and there's no validation or proof, it's going to potentially be penalty and all sorts of issues for that employee.
And even if they just roll it to a safe account?
Well, again, they probably don't want to roll it, right? So if they're in a 403b, they may switch vendors or change vendors, but they can certainly do that or go into a more safer option of what the choice they may have from that standpoint. But they can't necessarily pull the money out per se unless they've shown, again, as it says, they've been diagnosed or have suffered some sort of consequence of a family member due to COVID-19. They just can't pull the money out because of the market performance and put it into, let's say, an IRA or something like that.
Okay.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I don't agree with it because if somebody lost had 100,000 and lost 40,000, that, it's, you know,
Well,
but I understand.
yeah, and we'll cover that in product because I'll cover that in product because I think it'll be clearer on what kind of solution we offer and how we have really benefited because of what's happened out there. So I'll cover that certainly in product.
Okay.
Okay. So those were general distributions, right? That's the ideal way to take money out of this because it's a retirement. But again, you have loans. One of the other features in a 403B and 457 plan is what we call hardship or unforeseen emergencies. And this allows employees to access money if they have certain situations that come up. And you can see on the screen, so this is a 403B hardship. If they have one of these 6, they are eligible for a hardship distribution. They can pull money out of the policy, okay? Medical expense, funeral, tuition over the next 12 months, not paying back student loans, primary residence purchase, prevention of an eviction, or casualty loss not covered by insurance. If they have one of those, again, they work with the third-party administrator, the TPA, validate that, they now can pull money out of their policy to help with that hardship. A 457, it's actually called an unforeseen emergency, so a little different title. You can see it's 5, medical, funeral, again, casualty loss not covered by insurance, prevention of eviction, and then it's any extraordinary or unseen circumstance beyond the participant's control. Yeah, that's one of them. By the way, which 2 don't you see on the unforeseen emergencies that were part of the 403B?
Tuition.
Primary residence.
Tuition and primary residence. You nailed it, absolutely. Guess why? Again, by the title, unforeseen emergency. You kind of know your child is going to go to college at some point, right? You kind of got 18 years to plan. And most people aren't on a whim just going to go buy a primary residence, right? There's some planning that's typically involved in that. Not deemed unforeseen emergencies, right? So again, some of the nuances and differences between a 403B and 457 from that standpoint, okay?
Did anybody else lose audio? I can't hear anything.
Can y'all still hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Him. Hopefully he gets it back. Again, just so you know, when we talk about 403B hardship or unforeseen emergency on the 457, these are distributions. Okay. So this is a withdrawal. So taxes and penalties may apply. Okay. So just be aware of that. These are a loan is a loan, right? We're providing that loan with the account as collateral. This is actually a withdrawal due to one of these circumstances. So there's going to be taxes and penalties that could apply. Okay. So we kind of covered 403B 47. I'm going to take a pause and see how well y'all were listening and see if you can answer some of these questions. So what type of employees may establish a 403B plan?
Church.
Schools. Churches.
Schools, churches,
Universities.
college universities. One more.
501(c)(3)s.
Police officers.
501c. You guys got it. Absolutely. Great job. What's the contribution limit in a 403B in 2020?
19,500 or 6,500 for 50 and over.
Wow, absolutely. You got the catch-up provision. Great job. Who turns in the salary reduction agreement?
You.
To whom?
The agent.
The agent? Who do you turn it into if it's a paper copy?
The district.
District.
The district office, absolutely. Payroll, that's usually
administrator.
Yep, absolutely. Guys got it. You guys are great. What's the earliest age an employee can take a distribution without penalty out of a 403B?
59.
59 and a half.
59 and a half.
Or 55.
55.
Yeah, 55, then separate from service. Just remember that then. Can't separate and then turn 55. Okay. Who qualifies or what qualifies as a 403B hardship distribution? What were those 6?
Medical.
Medical, funeral,
Medical.
tuition,
Medical, funeral,
purchase,
tuition.
eviction, or extraordinary.
No, the extraordinary is 457.
Oh,
You guys basically know, like Casualty, eviction, resident, tuition, funeral, medical. You guys were on it. Fantastic. Great group. So that's the 403B 447. That is what that vehicle is, what is offered, who offers it, how they put money in, how they can move money, how they take money out. So I'll pause because now we're going to transition into, okay, we're part of a 403B or 47 plan. What is it we specifically offer? So any questions from a 403B 457 standpoint?
Yeah, can you take a 72T distribution?
You can. That is one way to avoid the 10% penalty, yes. I didn't cover that, but that is certainly an option.
I have a
What is
question.
that?
With the Roth 403B, for instance, if I left education and I went back into the private sector, would I be able to keep it?
So a plan may, yes, a plan may allow you, and this is not just Roth 403B, this is any 403B or 447. Yes, the plan may allow you just to keep that money there. Can't contribute to it anymore, right? Because you're no longer working. But yeah, a lot of plans allow you to keep it there. Or because you went to the public sector, you could potentially roll that into whatever plan you now have available to you, which could be a 401k, or roll it into an IRA. So absolutely, you could leave it there potentially, or roll it. And quite honestly, it's a great question to ask, right? When you're working with these employees, I think the last I saw on average, I think most of us change jobs about 7 to 8. So there could be old plans that we've left behind. So if you know an employee is new to that district, that municipality, police, fire, it's a great question to ask. Did you reach any retirement plan in your prior work? Right? It could lead to a rollover opportunity for you, along with setting up that new plan from a flow perspective. Any other questions?
Yeah, I haven't dealt with 72T distributions. Could you explain that for a sec?
Yeah, so they're called, there's multiple different words for it. They're called substantial equal payments. Basically, what it is if an employee needs to take money out, and this is their retirement plan, they can take substantial equal payments. So basically, it's a calculation based on their amount in the policy and mortality tables. And it says you have to take this amount out. You can't deviate it for 5 years or 59 and a half, whichever is longer. And as long as you adhere to that, you avoid the 10% penalty. Quite honestly, because it's mortality tables, the amount for a lot of folks is pretty small. So you may not do it very often because the amount is not, if they truly need money in a significant amount, usually a 72T is not going to get them there. But it's a way if they want to pull some money out to be able to do it. Our sales desk can go into more detail with that. If you really want to know it.
Yeah, and keep in mind it says Jacob said the 59 and a half or the equal 5 year, whichever is longer, not shorter. So
Right.
you would have to keep that in mind when you start thinking about that.
Hi, this is Suzanne. My computer had shut down, and I just wanted to let you know that I came back to the webinar.
Welcome back, Suzanne. I'm glad you're able to get back in.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so let's talk about products, okay? And I'm going to go over high level what we offer from a solution here at National Life Group. Again, we've got a webinar that really goes into depth. So if you really want to know the nuances, crediting strategies, things like that, our sales desk puts on a fit product webinar. That was one of the ones that we touched on earlier, that they do a really good job of going in depth. I'm going to kind of share high level in how our products fit from a 403B 457. So we have really 4 products, okay? And you'll kind of see them, they're in the color section: secure growth, income, rewards growth, certain income. And really, we have this guide, and this actually, again, is one of the PDFs that was emailed to you earlier. Really, they're set up based on how long the employee has to contribute, and then how do they want to distribute their money. So you can see, first question, how long until your client expects to retire? Is it 11 years or more, or 10 years or less? The second one is, well, how do they want to take their money out of the policy? And there's really two ways. They and you determine it, what we call self-distribute, where they control how the money comes out. Or if they want a guaranteed income stream, we have the ability, and we have a rider on 2 of our fixed index annuities called Guaranteed Lifetime Income Rider, that create and provide basically a guaranteed lifetime income stream. So based on how much they put in, we run a calculation, and they know they're going to get X every month for the rest of their life. So if they want that comfort in knowing my paycheck I won't outlive my paycheck, that's a great option for them from a guaranteed lifetime income standpoint. Okay. So based on how you answer those two, it kind of guides you to what is the best fit. Sorry, I know you had a question real quick. Please,
sorry,
for those who have a particular product that they like better, that's certainly fine. But for those new to it, this is a great guide to kind of point you into what is the potential best solution for that employee. Sorry, go ahead. Question?
Yeah, thanks, James Wheeler. Question, is there a rider or built-in provision for continuing the annuity to the surviving spouse?
On the GLEAR, there is an option for either single life or joint life, yes.
Awesome, thank you.
No problem. Okay. One of the questions or one of the comments was about the recent market, right? And the volatility, and it's been down. Because we offer fixed index annuities, one of the things you'll hear us say a lot is zero is our hero. The way our fixed index annuities work, and this is more high level, but hopefully it kind of touches on that comment about, the market's down and they may look for a change. Our customers have not lost a single penny due to market volatility because our floor is zero. Okay. So when the market is sideways or goes south, they're not impacted. They have a 0% floor. Now, they're not going to be credited anything in a down market, but guess what? They haven't lost anything either. Okay. And on the upside, they have that upside potential through caps and the different options. So in this environment, we have seen a lot of folks really take a look at us because guess what? We are in these plans, one of the very few options that offer a fixed index annuities. Most of the other vendors out there, I mentioned, right, there's 2 choices that they can have in a 403b 47, annuities or mutual funds. Most of the annuity carriers are more variable based, market exposure. Mutual funds obviously potentially have market exposure. And yes, I know there's some safe options, but we do a really nice job of complementing or being on a platform because for those who are more conservative and really can't stomach even losing a penny, we are a really nice option for them in this market space. Okay. So that, again, kind of high level, our sales desk has an upcoming training. Strongly encourage you, if you want to learn more on how they work and how the crediting works and how we offer that 0% floor, jump onto that. But it's really nice from that aspect, especially in this time. If you've got somebody who is unhappy with what they experienced or is concerned because of what they are and is hesitant, you can absolutely say, we have never lost a penny due to market performance. Okay. We've actually got a piece on that we call it the penny piece.
I'm sorry, one quick question. Can you go back
Yes.
to the previous slide, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just so I completely understand, when it says 11 years or more, are you saying that's only for fit secure growth? Or are you saying it's for the top 3?
The top 2, right? So the first question is, how long do you have to retire? If I say 11 years or more, the next question is, how is a client going to want to access their money? Do they want to self-distribute? If so, secure growth. If they want that guaranteed lifetime income option, fit select income. So that's how you want to read it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, looks like Brian, you raised your hand. I like this raise the hand feature. That's kind of fun. Brian, did you have a question?
I did. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So do I understand correctly? So if we put them into either the 401c or the B program, either for the 457 or the 403b, the actual account or the program that goes into are the fit?
Correct. That's the actual investment.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One of the other things that we built, and all 4 of those fit products have this option on it. And this is a built-in waiver. There's no cost to it, okay? And basically what it is, and you'll see it on the second bullet point, we just talked about hardships or unforeseen emergencies, right? Life is dynamic, things have come up, and that employee needs to access their money. You'll see if the policy's been enforced for 1 year and they are approved by the TPA because of a hardship or an unforeseen emergency, we will allow them to take money out of that policy without incurring a surrender charge, and the NVA as well. Okay. All 4 of our FIT products are 9-year surrender charge. But again, we built these with, and the fact that we're committed to the 403B, 457 market space, we built these because, and we put this in here because, again, we're committed to it. We didn't want to penalize an employee who has some sort of emergency, needs their money, and maybe in the 2nd or 3rd year of their contract. So we built this in. So again, policy been enforced a year, a qualify for any hardship or unforeseen, we're going to waive their surrender charge. The other one is right below it, separation from service or disability. Okay, policy been enforced for 1 year and they separate from service or disabled. You can see we will either reduce the surrender charge. You'll see policy years 2 to 4, it's 20%. After year 5, 100% of the accumulation value comes out. So again, we recognize that folks may need to take this money out. So we've built these, all 4 of these fits to allow certain things, if they happen in a 403B or 457 plan, to not further penalize the employee. Okay, so really great waiver. It's all, again, on all 4 of them. There's no additional cost. And Gabe, I'm still not aware of another product out there in the 403B, 457 space that has this type of waiver on their products.
That is correct, Jacob. This is cutting edge. We are the only ones that are doing it at this time.
So again, a great way for you as you're positioning who National Life is, what our fixed index annuities are. This is a great waiver to be aware of to kind of give that peace of mind. Okay. And you can see again, this is policy level. This is not IRS, right? So they still may be taxed and penalized from an IRS standpoint. That's beyond our control. IRS has got their own rules. These are simply policy level provisions that we've placed to be able to, again, not further penalize potentially folks who need to access their money. Okay, really great access waiver. So that's our fixed index annuities at a really high level. One of the other ones, and I'll just touch on this, is our balanced opportunity platform. We brought this out a couple years ago, and the reason we did, and I've mentioned this a couple times, most of these plans are multi-vendor platforms. Most have 4, 5, 20, 30, 40 different options in their plan. But there are some plans that what we call single vendor. They just want ease of use, one plan, one-stop shop. They do it all, kind of similar to a 401k. And so we now offer and have our Balanced Opportunities platform where we can play in that arena. Most of the time, you're going to see this in our municipalities markets. Okay, usually if you're in the municipality, that's where we mostly see kind of that single vendor type of plan. What our Balanced Opportunities platform is basically a online robust platform that offers our fixed index annuities and a mutual fund platform. Okay, so it allows that employer to know, you know what, there's a plethora of options from mutual funds to fixed index annuities, and the employees have a ton of options for them. Okay, and so we've built this to be able to, again, you come across or we want to go into a single vendor platform, they know they've got a plenty of options to be able to offer their employees. Okay. One of the things when we talk about mutual funds, you have to be FINRA licensed to be able to legally talk about them. Don't worry if you're not. In retirement services, myself and most of our team is FINRA licensed. So if you come across an opportunity where they want a single vendor platform and this is a viable option, we are there to support you. We can talk that with them from that standpoint. You can talk fixed index annuities. You legally can't talk it if you're not FINRA licensed. But so again, just be aware if we can play in that space and we've got the ability to help those type of employees.
What about compensation?
If you're not FINRA licensed,
Yeah, but let's say you put the entire package together and you've got some FIA and you have some mutual stuff. How is that split?
so if you're not FINRA licensed, you can be paid on the fixed index annuity. You cannot legally be paid on anything in mutual funds. You have to be FINRA licensed to receive compensation in any mutual funds. Okay.
Okay.
So, is there another question? Okay. So just be aware of it. Again, most of our plans, actually the vast majority of our plans that you'll come across, you'll work in, we are a fixed index annuity. We're just one of the options. Again, I want to share that with you because it is a new program, and last thing we want to do is you're out there not aware of it and an opportunity. You don't want to miss an opportunity from that standpoint. Okay. So that's the 403B 457 market space, right? And that's the product we offer. Again, we, I think, can really complement what a lot of the other folks do because we are one of the very few fixed index annuity. We've got that 0% floor. And so if you walk into a plan where National Life is not in, this is what I say, and they may be perfectly happy with their options. That's great. I don't want to replace them. But I think we can complement what you're currently doing in that plan because what we offer is a little more conservative and it protects the employee from the downside where they can't lose a single penny. And so, you know, you've got some really great options in there. What I would ask is, you know, take a look at us. I think we can complement what you're currently doing and allow more participation to happen in your plan because we know, and this is true in schools, studies have shown most educators are a little more conservative by nature. So they're looking for something that's a little more secure, and we certainly fit that bill by what we offer in our 403B 487 plans. And so again, I think we can complement what you guys are currently doing. Look, if they're unhappy and they want to replace, that's fantastic. But a lot of plans, they're pretty happy with their options. And so trying to get them to pull one off and put one on can be challenging. So that's where I go from a complement standpoint from our products. Okay. So hopefully that helps. So now I'm going to pivot to agent resources. Before I do, I just want to pause. Gabe, any questions in the mailbox or anybody think of any additional questions before we kind of move forward?
Nothing in the mailbox currently.
Perfect. Great.
I have a question
Just a
for
quick
you.
question, if I could, from James Wheeler.
Yes, James, go ahead.
Just understanding quickly, so the balanced opportunities is, say if I walk into a potential a business and maybe the owner has 10 employees and they just want one platform to run all their benefits, so to speak, through for saving for their employees' retirement. So that's, I mean, we'll go into the details now, but that would be the target market for something of that nature.
Yeah, but it's not business. This is for 403B 457 still. Only that. That's
Okay,
what,
so it's all within the 403B 457 platform.
yes, sir.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
If a 501c nonprofit wants to start offering 403b, but they're small enough they don't have any money to contribute towards it, one of their big concerns is what are the administrative expenses that they have to shoulder in order to offer it? Can you address that?
Sure. Great question. So if they don't already offer a 403B, Gabe will cover this in more detail, but there could be a fee to set up that plan document. They would incur that cost. Any ongoing costs, the vendors pick up. So we at National Life pick up the ongoing costs that may be associated with that plan.
Rough order of magnitude on the setup fees?
I mean, it can vary. If they want a very basic plan, a couple $100. Look, if they've already set it up, then they've already gone through that process. Could be 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be more depending on how complicated a plan they may want. So it can vary. But if it's basic, it's usually a couple $100.
Couple hundred. And then the other question is, do you have a comparison of some of the competitors of what they're offering in the 403B market and specifically Midland?
So we do have a competitive team at National Life Group that focus on that. I do not, but if you reach out to our sales desk, they do have competition information that they can provide. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so let's talk about some of the resources for you guys that are out there. Here's the map, right? So I talked about a map, and by the way, this will also be at the end of the presentation too, but as you can see, we cover all 50 states except New York, so we'll call it 49. And so there is a relationship manager that is dedicated to regions to be able to assist you. So no matter what state you're in, if you need information, we are a fantastic resource. What Gabe and I do is we are in touch with the plans. We're kind of the conduit between National Life Group, you as the agents, and those 6,500 plans that we're in. We are constantly on the phone, in person when we could, email, to talk to them about what's going on, what they're doing, opportunities, so we then can pass it along and make sure that we're as productive in those plans as possible. So what we do, and our goal is to know as much about our plans as possible to help you be able to navigate it. And I would ask two-way street, you guys, as you start to work in these plans, if you hear something, please let us know. That just allows us to make sure we have our systems with the current information. Things change, people change. And so if you're certainly working in a plan and something new comes out, or new requirement, please let us know from that standpoint. But as you can see, you've got support from retirement services standpoint, okay? I'm gonna go to the portal now, and I'll kind of walk you through some of the things we were talking about. Let me log in, and as an employee, I log in differently. You guys won't have this from that standpoint. So when you log in, hopefully you guys can see my screen. Let me know if you can't, but you should be able to see our agent portal hopefully coming up in a second. Is that up on the screen, the agent portal?
Yes, it's there.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Good. Thank you. All right. So I'll kind of take you to what some of the resources are. So on our agent portal.
Hold up, Jacob. Are you talking about yours that you logged into?
Yes.
No, it's still showing the actual presentation.
All right. Gabe, thank you for that. And I will. Share this one. All right.
All right, we got it.
Now we're good. Thanks, Gabe. All right. This is nationallife.com. This is what we call our agent portal. Okay. So when you log in, what I'll start with is the left-hand side under business tools right here. Okay. These are kind of some quick links to a lot of information. The first I'll take you is our top 12. And basically what this is we take a look at what you as agents, and this is all of our agents across the country, what you're using, what you're downloading, what you're ordering, and we put it in a top 12. So for those who are new to National Life and you want to get started in this market space, really great resource for you, because this is basically what your peers are using when they go out and talk. And this is top 12 annuity marketing pieces, okay, of what they're using working in the annuity 403B space. So you can see these are the top 12 pieces currently being used. We actually update this so it's dynamic every month. We go back out, we pull and figure out, okay, is something new being used, and we reorder this, okay? So you can see proven results is number 2. That is a little bit about our products. So again, we have that 0% floor and what and how the fixed index annuities work compared to markets. Competitive advantages, we just redid this piece probably about a month ago. Really great piece. It's exactly what it sounds like, competitive advantages. It talks about who National Life is, what we do, how prevalent we are in the 403B, 457 market space. So a really great overview when you're sitting down with a plan and maybe you want to make sure you talk about, kind of who you're representing and the impact they make. Really good piece. So again, top 12, really great jumping off point if you're kind of wondering, what pieces should I use? Okay. One of the things too, I mentioned we will send out some material after the fact. Included in that are some of these pieces. And by the way, you probably see some of these pieces in the email that was sent earlier to you before the training. So we use these pieces a lot. I can tell you when Gabe and I would go visit plans in person, a lot of these pieces were in our kits talking to the CFO, business administrators about what we do, who we are, some of the things going on in National Life Group. So we use them too with our plans. So that's our top 12. Okay. This right here, kind of the second one down, form material, that's how you actually order the material. So you can either do it with the top 12 and pull it up, but you can also order it. We talked about our product, and they'll go more into this if you join the FIT webinar, but illustrations are right below that. So that's, if you want to illustrate that guaranteed lifetime income rider, that's where you can do that also. Okay. So really some quick links on the left-hand side. I'll scroll down a little bit. We have these 6 boxes. So we talked a lot about these webinars, and someone mentioned earlier, how can I go about signing up for them? If you hover over the training and product one, like I am, you'll see another box comes up. You'll see right here under Education Center, webinar calendar. Okay, I click on that. That's going to take me to all of the webinars that are being hosted by National Life Group coming up, right? And these are all sorts. So it's not just I focus and Gabe focus on the 403B 47 market space, but you can see there's IULs, life training, but you can see, on 6.3 there was a quick hit sales idea for the 403B market, right? So this is the month, and if I scroll down, these are all of the ones that are available. And what I can do is, if I click on it, that particular one, that's what allows me to register right there. Okay, so if I wanted to go to the toolkit on the 24th, I just click on it and then click that register button, and that's how I go about registering. So if you're interested in those additional trainings, look through this, find those dates, and then just go ahead and register. Okay. Hopefully that answers that question. So that's back under training and product. One of the other things, and I'll hover over marketing, we have a section dedicated to the 403B 447 business. Okay, so as you start to work in these, we have on these pages different material information to help you kind of in one central location. So maybe instead of the top 12 or searching, what do we have, you can go there. And we break it out by plan sponsor marketing. So that's the third one, if I can highlight correctly. Oh, it's that one, the third one down, plan sponsor marketing. Basically what that is, when we say plan sponsor, think administrators. So this is geared towards talking to payroll superintendent, kind of the decision makers of the plan. So we give you some information from and some material to maybe have those conversations. We also, if I hover over marketing, have the employee marketing. So that is after you start working in a plan, you know what you can do. We are a vendor in there. Now you start meeting with the employees. Under the employee marketing, we have some additional tools, some presentations to allow you to be able to kind of have an idea of what do you want to talk about with those employees. Okay. So that's again under the marketing tab. You just hover over it. 3B 447 section right there. Okay. Training and product. Again, if you want to learn more about our product, you've got the annuity right there. That will really go over that. So you can see there's quite a bit of information out on our web that we've got housed in different areas. So encourage you when you get a chance, kind of play in the top 12, see what's being used, go to some of these different locations and kind of play around and see what's available out there for you. Again, what we hope is we've got it. You don't have to create it. That's kind of the goal. We've been doing this a long time. We've got a ton of resources and material out there. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of where you can start to find them and be able to use some of them as you work in this 403B 447 market space. Okay. So that is our agent portal. I'll go back to the deck. I'll share this real quick. Can everybody see the PowerPoint? Did that come back up, Gabe?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. So that's one of our internal resources is nationallife.com. One of the other nice things is there's external resources out there that kind of come from third parties, which may help validate or you can use to be able to kind of, again, convey the importance of why you want to start saving, the importance and what is a 403B. So the first one is, which I'll point out, is from our Index Annuity Leadership Council. It's also called the IALC. The website is right there, FIAinsights.org. Again, FIAinsights.org. This is a really great website. So this council puts on a lot of and creates a lot of educational information around indexed annuities. There's great videos, there's pieces, there's material. So again, it's a great way when you sit down with that employee and maybe they have some questions, public website you can go to that kind of maybe helps validate, educates them on what you're talking about. You've got kind of that third party resource. Okay. Really great website when you get some info there. They've got some really great videos and funny videos about retirement and about index annuities. Okay. The next one is, and we mentioned this earlier, NTSA NATSA. That one is www.ntsa-net.org. Again, ntsa-net.org. This is a really great website when it comes to federal and state changes that may be coming down. We talked about the CARES Act. NATSA does a great job, and they have sections in there that will provide updates on what some of the initiatives are, legislation it was in the CARES Act that is relevant to the 403B, 457 market space. If your state is underfunded from a pension and they're looking, or that's on the docket to be discussed on potential pension changes, they put that there so you can search by your state and see if there's any state regulations that may be coming that could impact a 403B or 457 for employees of that state. So really great high level from a regulatory legislation standpoint. They also do many studies, kind of like that one I mentioned, where they did that study and said there's only a 27% participation rate in 403Bs nationwide. So really great resource for you also, okay? The third one, and we actually created this site, National Life Group, but it's a public site. Anybody can go there. It's called retirementhomeroom.com. And one of the things we hear, and you saw the statistics earlier, is there's not a lot of education information out there. It's really hard for these employees, especially teachers, to know what is a 403B, why they should save, how it works. And so we actually created this website. It doesn't have any of our products. It is truly education based, but anybody can go to retirementhomeroom.com and it'll actually have some calculators, some infographics, information about what is a 403B, why you want to start saving today versus waiting down the road. So it's a really great resource. We actually present this to a lot of the plans to make them aware of it, because again, that's what we hear when we talk to our plans is lack of education, helping their employees understand what this is, how it works. So we've created this website called Retirement Homeroom. Again, public site. You can go in and look at it. So for you guys, if you want to see what we're offering, but you can certainly bring that to the employees or other plans, especially if you work in the school systems. Really great resource geared to them. Okay. The last one is NCES, and that's nces.ed.gov. I'm actually going to take you guys to this one. For those who want to work in the school systems, be it private, public, charter, colleges, universities, doesn't matter. This is a fantastic resource for you. And I'll actually stop sharing so I can pull that website up real quick. Hopefully you can see my website. Gabe is
You're good.
perfect. Thank you, sir. All right. So again, nces.ed.gov. Okay. What this does, and I'll show you, if you're wondering, what schools are around me, or what, I know, or my child went to this school. I wonder what the demographics look like. I wonder what some of the information is. You can actually find it here. The beauty of working in this market space, in my opinion, a lot of public information is out there that you can do a little homework before you actually reach out or step foot on these campuses. You can arm yourself with some really great information that can help you and kind of make you stand out instead of maybe asking some of those basic questions. You already got them. So let me kind of show you how this works. And it's a little tricky website. You want to hover over a lot of these, but I hover over menu and it pulls this bar. And then I want to go to data and tools. Okay, you can see this gray box kind of changed. And right there, the third one says school and college search. Okay, you can see, you know what? Oops, that's why it's tricky. If you kind of hover, it jumps around. But let's say I want to look at colleges. I got a college navigator, private schools, public school districts, schools, or I can search for schools and colleges. I'm going to do this. I'm going to click on public school districts. Okay. And let's say, and I'm outside of Dallas. So let's say I'm in Dallas, Texas. Okay. And I can run a report to see, okay, 30 miles from kind of my area, show me all of the different schools that are around me, school districts. There they are, right? So these are all the different school systems within about a 30-mile radius around me. And it looks like there's 21 of them, okay? So I can click on these. So I'm gonna click on, and I'll just pick on Dallas ISD because I know that one pretty well. So I can click on Dallas ISD. This is Dallas Independent School District. I have their physical location. So now, and Gabe will touch on this later, we strongly encourage you to go see certain folks. Oh, there's their address. That's where they're located. Got that. Phone number. Fantastic. Wow. Underneath Dallas ISD are 240 schools. Okay. So this is a district level. So between, and you can see they go through pre-K through 12. So elementary, middle, high school. There's 240 different campuses under the Dallas ISD. It's a big system. Oh, by the way, down here, if I scroll a little further, you see district details. Some of this is not applicable to what we do. Again, these are public entities and they have to report some of this. But if I click on staff, teachers, there are 10,000, a little over 10,000 teachers total, because guess what? I mentioned administrators, but you've also got cafeteria workers, bus drivers, administrative folks, support folks. All those could be part of the 403B 457 plan. So you can see total staff's about 10,400 employees. It's a pretty big pond to fish in. Okay. Really great information right there for you to kind of see how big is the opportunity. Is it K-12? I've got their address and phone number. So it gives you some really nice information that you can do this with. And again, this is private schools, public schools, colleges, universities. It gives you some really nice high-level information.
And Jacob, if you can go back to where you were when you put the zip code in the mile radius.
Yes, sir.
For me, I do want to let everyone know that when you are trying to prepare yourself to go out and see what districts you're going to go into, you want to always make sure you have a master list. Your master list is going to show you everything within that particular area. Now, Jacob, as you did before, the 30 miles and then the zip code, go ahead and do that again for me, please.
That's a different zip, Gabe, but we'll pull it up.
No,
Okay.
no, that's fine. That's fine. And go ahead and hit your search on that.
Yes, sir.
When you did that search, scroll down for me a little bit there, Jacob. One thing that we have here is if you keep going just a little bit more down, there's an area where you can download that information to an Excel file. When you download that to an Excel file, that gives you that information there for you. So you can look over those particular districts and you can get you'll have your master list. From your master list, then you would target whatever group that you're wanting to go to, and then you can get some more insight. But that master list is what will assist you to know what is around your area, what is around there in public school, charter schools, and those other schools that are there. So that's something that you definitely want to keep in mind when you're going onto this site.
Thanks, Gabe. And please understand, this is the first step, and Gabe's about to take you through the next step, because just because you have this, we may or may not be a vendor in there, right? You may or may not be able to work in that, but what this does is you're doing some homework to be able to, when you reach out to us and say, hey, I live here, I'm interested in these, I downloaded this file, especially if it's school systems, we then can talk to you and go, okay, Frisco ISD, let me tell you a little bit about this. Again, Gabe and my responsibility is to know what can and cannot happen in these plans. And so we can protect you and help you navigate that. Gabe's going to cover that. But as he said, really great information. So if you're new to this, new to the 403B47 space, great way to start out if you're looking at the school route, to kind of give you what's out there, that then you can call us and say, hey, what about these? Tell me a little bit about these in my area. Okay, from that standpoint. Thanks, Gabe, for that. One of the other things, and I'll pick on Plano, most of these have their website. So if I click on this, it's going to take me to the school district's website, which gives me some fantastic information. Okay. If I click on departments, I can see we talked about turning in that salary reduction. There's business services. Probably want to know who that person is to talk to them about business services, right? It could be human resources, benefits, really great information. So you kind of can see, who are some of the folks. So here's the chief financial officer. There's his name, Randy McDowell. There's his email address, phone number. Kara, who's his administrative assistant, probably easier to get a hold of. There's her information too. Really great information. So when you start to think and look at where you're going to work, you can go to a lot of these schools, and this is no different from colleges, universities. They have a lot of this information on there. Kind of gives you kind of who you want to reach out to, instead of maybe reaching out to the main number and saying, hey, I talked to this person. Okay. One of the other things that I showed you with Dallas, right, was it was 240. I'm not sure Plano, but if I click on schools, guess what? It gives me all the schools under Plano ISD. Oh, you know what? My kid actually goes to Beverly. I need to reach out to Beverly. Guess what? I click on Beverly. It now takes me to that school's website, so I can maybe find out who the principal is, who the assistant principal is, and be able to communicate that way. So that's why this is a really nice resource. And if you use it, it kind of helps build a game plan for you, so you know who to contact, instead of just kind of fishing blindly. You've got some avenues to be able to go down to really be able to be targeted in your approach from that standpoint. Okay, so that's NCS. And what I would encourage you to do, for those who do want to work in the 403B 47 market space, I'm going to give you some homework. I strongly encourage you, go there, do what I just showed you, and pull a list. Or if you are familiar with this and you know what, I know this community college is right down the road for me. You saw under the district name, you can search by a specific name. So homework is, think, especially if you're working in the school system, use this, pull down 5 or 6 that you want to look at and get some information, then you give us a call and we'll take it to the next level. So that's your homework if you want to work in the school marketplace. Use this website. Okay. So with that, I've come to kind of my end, but I'm going to ask a few more questions, see who's paying attention, and see if I was effective at teaching you guys. So what are the 2 questions to determine which product is the most appropriate for your client? What were those 2 questions?
More than 11 and under 10.
Right, more than 11 years.
More
and
than
under
11
10
and
years.
less.
So what's the question you want to ask to find out if it's more than 11 or 10 or less? What's that question?
When is their
Before they
date for
retire.
retirement?
More years before you retire.
Retire.
To actually their funds.
And how they want to distribute their funds. You guys got it, absolutely, right? Okay. So the emergency access waiver, how many years must the policy be enforced to have surrender?
1 year.
1 year. 1 year, absolutely. Great job. How would you find updates on a new business? Or where would you find them? Where are some places you can go?
NCS.
I apologize. I didn't cover that. New business. That was my fault. I missed that. That is information for you on policy status, things like that. We have that on our agent portal. We also have a mobile app. Sorry, the agent portal. That's on me.
You guys have one of the best back offices of so many carriers. You guys are awesome. It's so much information back there.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I'll give that feedback. Where do you find key information about a school or a district?
NCS.ed.gov.
Absolutely. NCS.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one. Fantastic. All right.
Hey, just a quick question.
Yeah, I was going to pause for questions, and we're going to take a break and then turn it over to Gabe.
Because I know as an agent, I have the NLG app on my phone as an agent. Now, when we sign up people, say for the FIT, for the 403B stuff, can they, as a new client of National Life Group, can they download the phone app and see their contributions and track their account balance, things of that nature?
Yeah, there is an employee or a client app also. Same way they can log on and see it on the website, or there is a client app. Absolutely. Great question. All right, we are about halfway through the hour, so let's take about another 10-minute break. I'm going to transition, and then Gabe will take us home the rest of the way.
Thank you.